Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders that help it grow. John Riosti out of nearby Washington, D.C. John, as always, good to see you. Lance Sexton, as always, good to see you. John, even though it's really dog days this summer, we still got a lot of information coming out of Washington, don't we?
Yes. Some of it about SBA.
Some of it even about SBA. Hey, let's go. We got a ton of stuff to do. It's sort of a pot shot type of scatterbrain approach, but let's go to it. Number one, have you ever used Libor for an SBA 7A loan?
Is that a trick question, Bob?
Either you have or you haven't. Oh, well, I'm surprised that 18% say yes.
I am surprised too.
Yeah, just put this into context. During the Great Recession, the secondary market seized up. You could not sell 7A loans to the secondary market. There was no secondary market. There was no lending at all. And the only loans that were being sold were tied to Libor. And Lance, that's one of the things SBA, they got that done within 3 weeks, saying, okay, we'll let you tie it to Libor. But again, that was 10, 12 years ago. So the question is, do we need to do that now? John, are you following the story at all?
I have to admit, I'm not. That is out of my ken. I know this article was in American Banker, but I did not write it. So yeah.
I thought Libor had gone away. Lance, is this something that you're tracking?
No, I thought Libor had gone away as a possible base rate as well. Now, I got a mortgage loan in 2004, Bob, that was Libor based. That's my last exposure to the Libor.
There you go. Anyway, we talk about that. It may come back, and all it is another rate that you can use in your toolbox when you're negotiating. If the borrower is sophisticated, feels comfortable tying it to Libor, you can do that. So you have a couple of peg rates that you put these loans to. Yes, Lance.
Well, I'm sorry, Bob. To be honest with you, everybody's so accustomed to Wall Street Journal Plus. And there probably are some that might use a Libor-based rate, but you know, in the last 20 years, Bob, everything I've done is Wall Street Journal Plus 1, Wall Street Journal Plus 2 3/4. So I do believe there are some that would use it, but I would not change my practice.
Well, this is going to be coming up with the rates have been relatively flat as they have been for the last 10, 12 years. It hasn't been an issue. If we start getting into an increasing rate environment, borrowers are pretty sophisticated, and they're going to want to know what we're tying this to, and you have a number of resources to do that. Number two, can you sell an SBA loan while waiting for outstanding loan docs, i.e., filing of mortgages, final title policy, and something showing that all the liens have been perfected? Yes, no, I don't know. Now, this is the trick question, Lance.
Yes.
The answer is you can sell it. The real question is, should you sell it? Go ahead, Lance.
It's kind of a mix, because sometimes it takes, like title companies, the real estate market is red hot, and getting title policies and perfected liens sometimes take longer than they need to. My challenge is you're supposed to have filed mortgages, final title policies, and perfected liens. And as a prudent lending practice, I would typically wait to sell it until I got all of this information.
We got this question from a lender who does this, and they've been criticized by SBA in their review on why are you selling this stuff when you don't have everything. So the answer is yes, you can do it, but you do it at your own peril. That's probably the best way.
And that's a question I've heard over the last couple months from several lenders, Bob, and it's because, the participant lender wants to sell a guaranteed portion of loan. And like I said, title companies are taking longer. UCC filings are taking longer. Everything's taking more time, and it slows down the process of selling the loan.
My 2 cents on this is have a serious talk with your CFO and your auditors, your CPA firm. I do know there are some lenders out there that will say, we've done the job. We don't physically have the transaction done, but the job's been done. Therefore, we're going to book it into income this quarter. I'm not saying you should do that. All I'm saying is have a serious conversation with your CPA firm and your CFO about that.
Make sure you understand the risk.
Well, make sure they understand.
Yeah.
That's really educating them and saying, is it any different than I sell a widget and I sell it on an invoice to Lance Worldwide Enterprises International, and then I can book that as a sale. Finally, the last question, do you stamp the PPP note paid in full when it has been fully forgiven by SBA? This is from Vicki. She cited an SLP notice that said it has to be done. What does the audience do?
I am looking forward to this response.
Wow. Third say yes, a third say no, and a third have no idea what I'm talking about. Lance, the notice is, in my opinion, unclear. It talks about if it's been reviewed by SBA, it needs to be stamped. But what is your response to this, Lance?
Well, when it's fully forgiven in a perfect world, we're going to stamp the notes paid and provide a copy back to the borrower. There's so many of these loans. I'm not surprised that no is a bigger response than yes. You know, if you did a few hundred of these, maybe a few thousand, I'm sure yes is a resounding response. And I got to be honest with you, those who talk to PPP borrowers, none of my PPP borrowers care. When they get notification of PPP forgiveness, and they download either in the direct portal or get a copy of the forgiveness letter from their participant lender, they're happy as can be.
Look, I don't represent myself as an expert on this, but the notice that Vicki is referencing is dated January 15th this year, control number 277. Vicki, it's talking about loans that have been denied by SBA and then during an appeal process it's done. So go through that, and that's basically do what you feel is prudent. That would be my response, Lance, because I know obviously half of you are doing it and half of you aren't. And do you see any risk in those who aren't doing it, Lance?
And Bob, I want everybody to know I could be completely wrong in my response, but I was not aware that we had to send a paid in full note back to the borrowers. And that just may be me overlooking something that I've read. But
well, again, it has to do with when there's an appeal. You know what? We'll go ahead and table this, and we'll speculate anymore, and we'll get more information for you. But it is a hot topic. John, what are you working on these days?
Well, right now I'm looking ahead to this hearing about forgiveness. My expectation is Congress is going to be pretty pleased with the way forgiveness is proceeding, at least for loans of $150,000 or less. And they're going to be pretty pleased with the performance of the website. So I'll be very interested to see what perhaps SBA discloses there or announces about any type of new policy or new announcements, and the reaction of the members. But beyond that, I've just been paying really close attention to the numbers. And they go up and up and up. I was just talking to an SBA lender who said that since the beginning of the summer, their weekly production has been 50% higher than sort of the historical average. So that's been going on for several months. And just looking at SBA numbers, I can't believe it's just this one lender. People who've looked at the latest weekly lending report will note that it's now through the 20th of August, which is a week ago, $27.5 billion. So already more than any other year in history. Same is true for 504. It's over $7 billion. So they're approaching combined $35 billion with a month left in the fiscal year. I know that SBA has maintained that they have sufficient funding. I just wonder, and I don't have I don't have an oar in the water either way. I'm just reporting on what's going on, but I just wonder, you know, what gives them that comfort level, and have they already, or will they need to exercise the administrator's authority to increase the budgeted amount, or the
we hear a bunch of stuff. What's your gut feel, John? What are we going to have an issue, or are we okay? Put you on the spot.
The reason I'm uneasy about this is, if you recall, I think it was 2015 when they ran out of money in the summer. It was you know, there were 5 months or so left in the fiscal year, 4 or 5 months. So so Congress acted quickly. And that's something that sticks in people's memory, but I suspect in the grand scheme of things, given that the shutdown lasted about a week, it wasn't a huge issue. If the agency runs out of money in September, say mid-September, towards the end of September, there's obviously, you know, no time. If it runs out of money on the 25th, you know, we're in that same issue. 6 days, 5 days, it's a hindrance, it's an annoyance, but not an issue. If it runs out of money, if it were to run out of money earlier than that, it could be an issue. But once again, they say they're not going to. So, you know, I'm just speculating.
Well, and one thing that occurs when there is a feeling of uneasiness about running out of money or not, every lender is going to go back to E-Tran and start submitting loan applications ASAP. So there is always a surge of SBA activity in September. And in particular, this year, the special factor that, you know, we have to weigh in is no guarantee fee through the end of September. So plenty of applications, and lenders are going to want to take advantage of, for their borrower, that special no fee.
Right.
John, we received, Jim said they expected to run out September 5th. Russell's asking the same question. So it is out there in the market that S504 is running out of money. What's your opinion about that?
I'm not surprised, I guess, is my opinion, looking at the numbers and also the continued enhancement of the program. I mean, what they have made significant upgrades to that program. It's a better program than it was a few years ago. So obviously, more people are using it. It's more attractive. Now you can use it to refinance existing 7A debt. That's a significant enhancement. So I guess the issue is one of timing. The enhancement was made, but it happened in the middle of a fiscal year, and it's difficult sort of to match, you know, the action that was taken with you know, the impact on funding. I mean, the funding was set earlier in the year before they made this change, this upgrade. The upgrade is made, the program is more attractive, more people are using it, and now you have,
yeah.
And that gets back to the point I was making before. September 5th is a little less than a month before the end of the fiscal year. It just takes time for Congress to do things, and I'm not at all criticizing Congress. It's just the way it is. It is what it is. But you wonder if it's even worth sort of revving up the machine to try to get something done. If it's only going to impact a few days, you know, towards the end of the fiscal year.
Jim's clarifying his answer. He says there's plenty of funds available for 504 refinance, but without expansion. When there is expansion, that niche, that bucket is expected to come out. So it looks like there's different buckets that we need to be worried about as well.
But my understanding of what was said was that the program itself is running out of money, is sort of running on empty, and you can look at the numbers, and it's well above $7 billion already. I mean, just a little bit above 6 million for all of 2020.
Yeah, my opinion on that is it's going to be a temporary glitch if that happens. But I tend to be an optimist. I think maybe at that hearing, any chance they'll talk about this, John, you're nodding, so you think maybe that'll come up.
I'm assuming it will be brought up or addressed. And then the other issue is, I guess the more important issue, more lasting issue is what will happen in 2022, the enhancements. At least the 90% guarantee and the fee waivers, will they continue, even if the payments, the Section 1112 payments,
which are still critical for these companies, very much so. Let's see. Michael has a question. This is for our forgiveness guru. Michael says, we have multiple movie theaters that receive PPP loans. They could not use any of those monies for payroll. Are they eligible for partial forgiveness? Can they receive, say, a 40% forgiveness? What do you do in that situation, Lance?
Well, they had to spend at least 60% of the funds from the PPP loan on forgiveness, and
payroll.
It makes it on payroll. I'm sorry. It makes it a real challenge. I've not had that circumstance. I need to look into it, Bob, but I know in all the portals, if you don't have 60% payroll, it just stops. You can't go forward. So it's the basic take is there has to be 60% spent on payroll in order for the loan to be forgiven.
I agree with you. Russell has another comment, which is SBA sends a forgiveness notification to the lender as well as to the borrower, and implying that that's going to suffice as the notification that the loan has been paid in full.
Yeah, I'm not sure that, well, of course, SBA is providing it in the portal, and I would like to know if they're actually on the ones that are not done in the direct forgiveness portal, is SBA sending that notice to the borrower?
The answer is yes. I can tell you. A friend of mine got an email directly from SBA saying, you are done. So they got it from the lender as well as from SBA. So. Okay,
so on a non-direct forgiveness portal loan.
Yeah, they're getting it.
I guess just all of my borrowers, Bob, are not paying attention because I'm constantly getting emails on loans that were forgiven yesterday. Can you send me my forgiveness letter? I'm like, it's in the portal, guys. Download it. But
I like the comment you made. Someone got an idle loan, and they said, well, isn't that forgiven? And you said, not exactly. Yeah, you have to pay that one back. Well, John, I'll let you have the last word. What else are you working on? What should we be looking for on the horizon?
I think just what I said, definitely working on looking at how the program, the year is going to go. Hopefully it will be a very smooth year end and a smooth transition into fiscal 2022. And I'm also going to be looking at 504, and I guess it's been a little more than a month since the change, the refinancing change was made, and just seeing how that impacted. And the hearing, I'll be definitely either at or listening to the hearing. I'm not sure whether.
I haven't heard the nasty word government shutdown. Is that anybody talking about that at all this time around? I haven't heard a thing.
I haven't heard a thing either. There's so much else going on that perhaps they're not even talking about that. But
yeah, I agree. On a scale of 1 to 100, that's I think number one. I'm number one. At the very bottom of the list.
But it's very likely if we haven't heard anything now, we will next week. So
great. Hey, John, I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. And next week you can fill us in on the hearing. And if you're interested in that, you go to the House Small Business Committee website, and there's a link there, and you click on it, you can watch it live. So,
yes. For the past roughly year, that's the only way you can go.
Yeah. If you want to do that, just Google it, and it's pretty cool. Very good. Well, thank you all for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street. one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great day.